Hello everyone. The topic for today's discussion is channel quality indicator feedback. In LT system, E node B gets channel quality information for downlink and uplink channels using CQI feedback, and this CQI feedback is used for user equipment scheduling and link adaptation. And for CQI feedback to enable frequency selective scheduling and also to keep the overhead low, various reporting modes are supported. So different reporting modes are supported here, which includes both periodic and aperiodic reporting, and also this supports both wideband and subband reporting. And for MIMO modes, rank indicator and precoding matrix indicator feedback are also reported from user equipments. In today's session, we will discuss channel quality indicator feedback and its subtopics like CQI estimation and different modes of CQI feedback. Okay, the channel quality indicator contains information sent from a user equipment to the E node B to indicate a suitable downlink transmission data rate. As we know, transmission data rate depends on the modulation and coding scheme used at the transmitter and receiver. Therefore, this CQI contains information related to the modulation and coding scheme value, and it includes channel quality information, precoding matrix indicator and rank indicator components. And the requirement for these components depends on the transmission mode. The CQI estimation process takes into account the user equipment capability, such as the number of antennas and the type of receiver used for detection. And CQI is a 4-bit integer. It is based on the observed signal to interference plus noise ratio, that means SINR ratio at the user equipment. And here number of antennas and the type of receiver used for detection are very important, because for the same signal to interference plus noise ratio, that means for the same SINR value, the MCS level supported by a user equipment depends on the number of antennas and the type of receiver used for detection. That means modulation and coding scheme, it depends on the number of antennas and type of receiver used for detection. Therefore, the CQI estimation process takes into account the user equipment capability, such as number of antennas and type of receiver used for the detection. And the CQI reported value are used by the E node B for downlink scheduling and link adaptation. These are important features of long term evolution. Okay, LTE supports both wideband and subband CQI reporting. First, let us consider wideband reporting. Here CQI is a single 4-bit integer which represents an effective SINR as observed by the user equipment over the entire channel bandwidth. So, it provides one CQI value for the entire channel bandwidth. With this wideband CQI, the variation in the SINR across the channel due to frequency selective nature of the channel is masked out. Therefore, frequency selective scheduling of user equipment is not possible with wideband CQI reporting. In frequency selective scheduling, user equipment is placed only in the resource blocks with high SINR. But here, since wideband CQI reporting is for entire channel bandwidth, this frequency selective scheduling of user equipment is not possible. Okay, next, second type of CQI reporting is subband CQI reporting. To support frequency selective scheduling, each user equipment needs to report the CQI with a fine frequency granularity, which is possible with subband CQI reporting. As we discussed previously, wideband CQI reporting does not support frequency selective scheduling. To overcome this problem, we can use a subband CQI reporting. And a subband CQI report consists of a vector of CQI value, where each CQI value is representative of the SINR observed by the user equipment over a subband. So here a vector of CQI value is used, whereas in wideband CQI only a single 4-bit feedback is used. Therefore, in wideband CQI uplink bandwidth consumption is less, so it is more efficient in terms of bandwidth consumption. But in subband CQI reporting, since vector of CQI value is used, it requires more uplink bandwidth. But this supports frequency selective scheduling. And a subband is a collection of n adjacent physical resource blocks, where the value of n can be 2, 3, 4, 6 or 8. This value depends on the channel bandwidth and the CQI feedback mode. And also wideband CQI is a preferred mode for high speed, where the channel changes rapidly. It is also used for services like voice over IP, VoIP, where large number of users are supported, because in such application latency is more critical than the overall throughput. So select wideband and subband CQI reporting depending on the user equipment speed or the quality of service requirement of the applications. Okay, next is CQI estimation. Downlink cell specific reference signals are used by each user equipment to estimate the MIMO LTE channel from the E node B. The estimated MIMO channel along with the known reference signal is then used to calculate the other cell interference level. The reference signals are sent in both uplink and downlink channel, but the CQI is sent only in uplink. The user equipment uses the estimated channel and interference plus noise variance to compute the SINR on the physical resource element carrying the reference signals. The user equipment computes SINR samples over multiple OFDM symbols and subcarriers. These are used to calculate the effective SINR value, and that effective SINR is given by the equation SINR effective equal to alpha I inverse of 1 by n summation k equal to 1 to n I of SINR k divided by alpha 2. Here capital N is the number of samples, and alpha 1 and alpha 2 adapt to different modulation and coding scheme. So it depends on the MCS, modulation and coding scheme, and the function I, it maps the SINR to a performance metric that is averaged over all the samples. And exponential effective SINR mapping EESM and the mutual information based methods are preferred, since they give a more accurate estimate of the channel quality. In the case of wideband CQI feedback, the user equipment measures the SINR from the reference signal over all the physical resource blocks and then computes its CQI based on the effective SINR across the entire channel bandwidth. So if a user equipment reports a single CQI value for the whole system bandwidth, then it is called wideband feedback. And in subband CQI, the user equipment measures the SINR over the PRBs contained in the given subband. Please understand the difference. Here user equipment measures the SINR over the PRBs contained in the given subband and then computes the CQI. So if a user equipment reports a CQI value for a particular subband, it is called subband feedback. Whereas in the wideband case, all the PRBs are considered. But here in subband CQI reporting, only PRBs contained in the given subband is considered. And subband is a set of k contiguous physical resource blocks. Okay, based on the estimated effective SINR, the user equipment picks the CQI index that indicate the highest MCS level that can be supported with a 10% block error rate on the first HARQ transmission. So here CQI index is selected based on the estimated effective SINR, and CQI index, it indicates the highest modulation and coding scheme level that can be used in the transmission. And the CQI feedback is used by the E node B to select an optimum physical downlink shared channel transport block with a combination of modulation scheme and transport block size. And this selection corresponds to the CQI index that could be received with target block error probability after the first HARQ transmission. And typical value of this target block error probability is 10 to 25%. Okay, next the supported CQI indices and their interpretations are given in the table. So there are 16 CQI index 0 to 15. So there are 16 index. These 16 CQI values require a 4-bit CQI feedback. Then modulation schemes are given QPSK 16 QAM and 64 quadrature amplitude modulation. The next column code rate into 1024 values are given. So based on the modulation scheme and code rate into 1024, we can find what is the efficiency. So here efficiency is given in terms of information bits per symbol. For example, consider CQI index 4. Its efficiency is 0.6016. So here QPSK modulation is used with a code rate into 1024 value of 308. So efficiency 0.6016 means each symbol it contains 0.6016 information bit. So 0.6016 information bits per symbol is the efficiency for index 4. Okay, the efficiency for a given CQI index is calculated as efficiency equal to QM into code rate, where QM is the number of bits in the modulation constellation. For example, if QPSK is used, then QM equal to 2 bits per symbol. For 16 QAM, it requires 4 bits per symbol, and for 64 QAM, it requires 6 bits per symbol. So based on the modulation scheme used, you can find what is the QM value. And for CQI index of 4, it is given that you can refer to the previous table. For CQI index equal to 4, modulation is QPSK, therefore QM is 2, and code rate into 1024 is 308. But here we need code rate value, therefore 308 divided by 1024. Therefore efficiency for CQI index 4 is 2 into 308 by 1024, which gives the value as 0.6016 information bits per symbol. Next subtopic is CQI feedback modes. CQI is reported on physical uplink shared channel or physical uplink control channel. The reporting of this CQI, PMI and rank indicator in the time domain can be categorized into 2 classes or 2 types. They are periodic and aperiodic reporting. So in the periodic reporting, the user equipment reports CQI, PMI and rank indicator with reporting periods configured by the higher layers. So here PUCCH, physical uplink control channel, is used, and in aperiodic reporting, it can be used to provide large and more detailed reporting in a single reporting instance via physical uplink shared channel. And here report timing is triggered by downlink control information, DCI. If the user equipment is scheduled in the uplink, then the periodic reporting is done using PUSH, physical uplink shared channel. If both periodic reporting on the physical uplink control channel and the aperiodic reporting on the physical uplink shared channel happen to be on the same subframe, then the user equipment will transmit only the aperiodic report. In this case, periodic report will be ignored. Okay, both periodic and aperiodic reporting modes support wideband and subband CQI reporting. In LTE, there are 2 distinct reporting mechanisms for subband CQI feedback when the aperiodic reporting mode is used. So subband CQI reporting again grouped into 2 types: higher layer configured subband report and user equipment selected subband report when aperiodic reporting mode is used. In higher layer configured subband report, the user equipment reports the subband CQI for each band in a single feedback report, and the size of a band is specified by a higher layer message, and it depends on the system bandwidth. And in user equipment selected subband report, the user equipment reports the subband CQI for the M bands with the highest CQI values, and the CQI for the remaining bands is not reported, and the value of M and the size of a band is given by higher layer message, and again it is dependent on the system bandwidth. Next, the average per sector downlink throughput for various wideband and subband CQI feedback modes is shown in the figure, and here frequency division duplex FDD system is considered. Average sector throughput is given in Mbps, and two mobilities are considered, 3 km per hour and 30 km per hour mobility is considered. So, in case of wideband CQI, when user equipment is moving with the mobility of 3 km per hour, throughput is 11.4 Mbps. When mobility is increased to 30 km per hour, then throughput decreases to 9.9. In subband CQI upper layer configured, higher layer configured, for 3 km per hour mobility, throughput is 15.9. But when mobility is increased to 30 km per hour, then there is a large difference in throughput. It is reduced to 10.2. So, approximately 1/3 of the mobility is reduced. So, in subband CQI format, when mobility is increased, then there is a large variation in the throughput, whereas in wideband CQI, this variation is small. Next, each reporting class supports a number of different reporting modes. So, this different reporting modes, it depends on periodic or aperiodic reporting. So, here it is given separately, table 9.4 for periodic POCCH reporting modes, and table 9.5 it is for periodic POSCH reporting modes. As you can see here, each reporting mode is characterized by CQI feedback type, that is whether it is wideband reporting or user equipment selected or higher layer configured subband CQI. So, mode 10, 11, 20 and 21 are supported in periodic reporting mode, and in aperiodic reporting modes 12, 20, 22, 30 and 31. So, here 5 reporting modes are supported. Okay, there are 7 transmission modes in the downlink, and each of them supports a specific subset of the reporting modes. So, these 7 transmission modes in the downlink we have already discussed in the 3rd module under multi-antenna transmission topic. So, different transmission modes are like single antenna port, port 0, then transmit diversity, open loop, spatial multiplexing, etc. So, here each transmission mode it supports a specific CQI reporting modes. The transmission mode and supported reporting modes are listed in the table, it is given here. Go through it. Next, we will discuss the details about different CQI feedback modes. Okay, next let us consider periodic CQI reporting. This periodic CQI feedback is useful for scheduling and adaptive modulation and coding. It can be also used to check MIMO mode or transmission mode. User equipment is statically configured by higher layers, and user equipment periodically feedback CQI on the POCCH in one of the supported reporting modes, that is wideband or user equipment selected subband CQI is used here. And mode 10 and 20 do not report precoding matrix indicator PMI. They are used for open loop MIMO modes and single antenna port transmission. And mode 11 and mode 21 report a single PMI for closed loop MIMO modes, that is only the wideband PMI is reported here. Okay, next consider the reporting for CQI, PMI and rank indicator. As you can see here, there are 4 different reporting types supported for each of the reporting modes. In the POCCH report type, there are 4 types. Type 1 report supports CQI feedback for the user equipment selected subbands, and the next type 2 report supports wideband CQI and PMI feedback, and type 3 report supports rank indicator feedback, and type 4 supports wideband CQI. So, this periodic CQI reporting supports user equipment selected subband CQI and wideband CQI. In user equipment selected subband CQI, a CQI report describes the channel quality in a particular part of the bandwidth, whereas in wideband CQI, a CQI report describes the channel quality over the set S of all the subbands. And in the table, payload size or number of bits per bandwidth part is shown. As you can see here, this 6, 4 plus L, 7 plus L, then 11, 8, 1, 2, etc. These are the payload size or number of bits per bandwidth part. So, for each POCCH report type, there is a specified mode and specified number of payload size or number of bits per bandwidth is used. Okay, next is periodic CQI reporting. Here reporting timing is triggered by downlink control information. Suppose user equipment receives a DCI format 0 or a random access grant in subframe n, and if CQI request field is set to 1 and is not reserved, then the user equipment shall perform a periodic CQI, PMI and RI reporting using the physical uplink shared channel in subframe n plus k. So, here DCI format 0 or a random access grant is in the subframe n, but this aperiodic CQI, PMI and rank indicator reporting using the PUSA channel is done in subframe n plus k, and the value of this k, it is given here. For FDD, that is frequency division duplex, k equal to 4, and for time division duplex with uplink downlink configuration 1 to 6, k is given in the table. That table is shown in the next slide number 19. And for time division duplex uplink downlink configuration 0, if the most significant bit of the uplink index is set to 1 and the least significant bit is set to 1 or 0, then k is given in the next table. And if the MSV of the uplink index is set to 0 and the least significant bit is set to 1, then k value is 7. So, k depends on the duplex type FDD, TDD and the type of configuration used in the uplink and downlink. Okay, this table shows value of k for different time division duplex configuration. So, in the first column, possible time division duplex configurations are given 0 to 6. So, there are 7 uplink downlink configuration, and next downlink subframe number is given from 0 to 9. So, as you can see here, k value varies from 4 to 7. So, 4, 5, 6 and 7 are the possible k values. So, depending on the subframe number and the TDD configuration, we need to select k value from the table. Okay, next let us see what are the different feedback modes that are supported in aperiodic CQI feedback. So, here aperiodic CQI reporting, it supports both wideband and subband feedback. Also in subband feedback, both user equipment selected feedback and higher layer configured feedback are supported. So, there are altogether 5 reporting modes: 2.0, 3.0, 3.1, 1.2 and 2.2. First, let us consider wideband feedback. In this type, user equipment selects a preferred pre-coding matrix for each subband, assuming transmission only in that subband. That means multiple PMI are supported here, and then each user equipment reports one wideband CQI value for each code word, assuming the use of the selected pre-coding matrix in each subband. It also reports the selected PMI for each subband. Okay, the second type of feedback mode supported in the periodic CQI reporting is higher layer configured subband feedback. There are two different reporting modes with higher layer configured subband feedback. They are mode 3.0 and 3.1. In mode 3.0 PMI is not used, and in mode 3.1 single PMI is used. The supported subband size k is the same as that for the periodic reporting. Already for periodic reporting we have seen what are the different k values, that is subband size supported. The same numbers we use in the periodic reporting also. As a separate CQI is reported for each subband, this reporting type provides the finest frequency granularity. But the problem is it has the highest overhead because of this separate CQI. Okay, next third type of feedback mode supported in the periodic CQI reporting format is user equipment selected subband feedback. So in this there are two different reporting formats: mode 2.0 without PMI and mode 2.2 with multiple PMI. And in mode 2.0 the user equipment selects a set of M preferred subband of size k. Again this M and k values depends on the system bandwidth. And in mode 2.2 the user equipment first selects the set of M preferred subbands and size k and a preferred single precoding matrix. Then it will report one CQI value per code word. This reflects transmission only over the selected M subbands. Also selected single precoding matrix is reported. So in today's session we have discussed about CQI feedback, then CQI estimation and different modes of CQI feedback supported in LTE. The remaining topics we will discuss in the next session. Thank you.